All right, welcome to the Confident Curvy Woman Course Preview. I am your host, Daisy Bergen, and I am so glad that you showed up to learn about this course that I've created. So basically, this is for women who are ready for a change, particularly curvy women. Now, I like to refer to myself as curvy, voluptuous, plus-sized, whatever you want to say. But some of those terms can be off-putting because it's like, okay, I'm these terms, I'm not who I am. So the terms kind of like sit on you like a label. Like, I don't like that. That's not fun. So yeah. So I was like, it's time to create this course because in the process of life coaching and wellness coaching, there just became a pattern that appeared. And it is one of looking for love in the midst of getting your life better. That's just how it goes. It's like you kind of sometimes want to get your life all better and get yourself all better and attract that man. Nothing wrong with that. But there's a lot of just trappings and things that starts opening up and coming up. And I discovered I had a real need around this area. I had something to give, something to say around this topic. So I began to write about it, and it was like a rabbit hole. I went off in multiple different directions, and I started creating this course. And so just the question itself, I've actually been dialoguing with women for the last 10 years, been married for 10 years, and it's just like, for some reason, I was like a little like dating magnet. People would come and talk to me about dating, and I had answers. I never really valued the fact that I had answers. And so I just kind of took time to put all that down, like I said. And so the topic kind of begs the question, why confidence? Well, for me, I come from a Christian perspective. This course is mostly for Christians. You don't have to be a Christian to be in it. But I'm going to focus on God as the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ in that capacity. And when I was actually studying what confidence meant, in a basic way, it's hope, it's faith, it's believe and trust, basically put in God and the confidence in what He can do. I like this one definition: a sense of boldness that is dependent on a realization of one's acceptance by God and a conviction that one's destiny is secure in God. I like that. And it seems to me that when I have my trust put in what God thinks about me and who He says that I am, I can do anything. And I love that. That is just like, that is something I go back to over and over and over. I mean, it's not something that somebody can take away from me. And it just kind of undergirds me season after season, time after time. And that's kind of the bedrock of this course. That's like where we're going to go back to over and over. And God's for us. Like relationships, like dating, that's His idea. There's so much shame around this. There's so much, oh my gosh, is it okay? Kind of like a guy? Is that okay? Yes, it's totally okay. It's totally what God planned. So we're just gonna delve into all the topics, all the things. And, I just find most of the women that I'm talking to are ready for a change. They're tired. They're tired of the soul-crushing rejection. They're tired of the hookup artists. They're tired of the guys that they like not liking them, the guys they don't like liking them. Some of that, that's hard to control. But there's steps we go through in the process so we can know how to handle those situations. And what I find over and over is there is this assumption that curvy women have ahead of time that men aren't going to like them because of their clothing size. Well, honey, you're so much more than that. That is not who you are. That size on the tag in your shirt is not your self-esteem. It's not who you are. And it's time to stop making everything about that, I'm going to have a little tough love in the midst of this. Oh my gosh, this is how it's going to happen. Things will fly out of my mouth sometimes, and I'm like, what just happened? It came out of my mouth. Okay, so anyways. So I find that people go through rejection, and then all of a sudden they're back on the couch on a Friday night eating takeout and ice cream. This is reclusing. And that's not where we're meant to stay. That's not who we're meant to be, you know? And much to my surprise in this whole process, I found that there are actually websites that target curvy women. They're called BBW sites, Big Beautiful Woman. I'm like, okay, like there's this thing where these men target these women, and it's not about a committed relationship. It's about a hookup. And I'll be the first one to say that hookups have destroyed real love in our country. Like this whole thing, it is so destructive. You know, our society makes it out to be something that's so alluring, and so it's what the cool people do. No, it's not. There's nothing cool about having your heart broken into a million pieces. I don't care what anyone says. There is no woman out there that says when she grows up she wants to have a one-night stand all the time. And they call it hookups because it makes it cool or something. It don't make it cool. There's nothing cool about it. So, and then, you know, if it's not the hookup artist, it's the guys that's kind of like, you know, oh, you never going to get anybody better than me anyway, so you might as well just be with me. Like saying weird stuff like that. Like that's something I've heard. And I'm like, you know, from other women, not something I experienced, not something someone was brave enough to say out loud. But I had a guy, don't even want to talk about this man, don't want to talk about him. He was right there right when I met my husband, and he had the nerve to come, oh, well, Daisy, I like you too. Well, too late, buddy. Your friend dated me. You should have declared your intentions, because a man who's worthy of my affections now has them. And he put a ring on it. Bam. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Anyways, so, you know, and if it's not that, then it's the self-defeating thoughts. I mean, I am 38 years old, and heaven help me, I have a tape that goes in my head. I have things that I think about that are just totally self-defeating, totally not helpful. And there is a way to jam that signal. There is a way to reframe your mind, reframe your mindset. I guarantee you, I don't know, I've got a big secret. Like, honestly, I'm going to give you some tips and tools today, but I've got a big secret that I'll reveal at the end that is a linchpin to all this stuff. Ooh, and you're getting it in the preview. I feel like I'm giving too much away. But let's go through some of this stuff here. So, like I said earlier, my name is Daisy. I have been married for 10 and a half years. I dated online and in person as a plus size curvy woman. And I met my husband as a plus size curvy woman. And for the last 10 years, I have been that girl. Let's face it, for most of my life, I've been that girl. Even when I got down to my normal weight, I'm big bone, girls. I'm big bone. I was made this way. God made me stout. I am made to carry things, to do things. So, yeah, that's been my reality. And, you know, in my family, you know, I don't know if it's because we were country. I don't know what it was. I was just always taught to love myself. Now, you go to school and, you know, you deal with things. And, you know, I dealt with all kind of different things. I mean, I definitely know that there were guys that liked me. I wasn't necessarily, they weren't just asking me out and stuff all the time. But, you know, I had a pretty good self-image. But then there were times where I really didn't, you know. I remember being 12 years old, losing all this weight at 12 years old because, I mean, I really needed to. I mean, it wasn't healthy for me to be as big as it was. I lost weight. And there's this one guy that I just loved to death. I thought, for goodness sake, he will notice me. That guy did not care no more than the man in the moon. And that experience taught me something. It taught me that I got to be okay with me regardless of what size I am. Because, you know, guys, people are fickle. They're going to like what they like. They're going to do what they do. And it was devastating for me, but it taught me an important lesson. It taught me something about believing in myself. And all those experiences that you had, that's one of the things I'm believing too. Is you're going to be able to reframe some of those experiences that you've had. And they might feel like, you know, wow, this thing defined me in my life. That's not true. We're going to bust through some of those things. As I've been going back through this, I remember some feelings I was having. I wanted to write Disney hate mail. I wanted to write these people. I'm like, where do you get off telling these fairy tales about how things are supposed to be. This is not how it is. I just remembered like being like 23, 24 years old, just wanting to smash things because life really, I mean, I was watching people get engaged. I was like watching them go to the altar, and I was standing there with my little bouquet and my bridesmaid dress. Oh, I'm so happy for you. No, I wasn't happy. I could be happy for them, but I was still aching. I wanted that so bad. It was so painful, so painful. One of my theme songs for this course, I'm going to have to write this one and get permission from Martina McBride, but this one's for the girls. I swear to goodness, I was listening to that. I was bebopping before you guys got on here about like in a little apartment just trying to survive. And this is all you girls about 25, living on your dreams and SpaghettiOs. Oh yeah, wondering where your life's going to go. I totally remember that. And 25 was the pivotal year for me. So pivotal. It was actually the year that I met my husband. I would not have known that was going to happen. And there was a series of things that happened. And the focus of this book, I focus on that period of time up until I met him, and then a little after. And because it was the pivotal time. There were other little seasons of my life, but that time something shifted, something changed. And it was really interesting. But what's funny is in the Christian world, I had read I Kissed Dating Goodbye and Lady in Waiting. And it's like, oh, all these things give me nothing to do but wait. And as a woman, I'm sitting there like, oh, this is painful. And not just as a woman. I'm loud. I'm gregarious. I am like, I show up in a room and people know that I'm there. There's not anything quiet about me. So nothing really like a gentle and quiet spirit. I'm like, oh, Jesus, help me. I'm going to be single mom. I just didn't know what to do with some of that scripture. And then you would, there was like church people giving advice. There was church books and the church people. And they were like, oh, sweetie, you just love Jesus. He's going to show up, and, when you least expect it. And, I'm like trying to be a good girl, just trying to do everything right because I just wanted that guy. You know what I'm saying? I just knew somehow I was going to make this happen. And I tell you, this was not how it went for me. Now, I actually really believe in this, that you don't have to compromise your faith. You don't have to compromise your standards to attract the man of your dreams. I don't believe that at all. And I felt so torn in this Christian world, Christian culture, and I was diligently seeking God for answers. But I also felt shame and guilt over having desires for marriage. It was really weird. But, like, God wasn't feeling that. I was feeling that, And then through that season, I took time to learn about God's emotions toward me. And I dedicated 2 years of my life. They call it consecration now. They have a big word for it. I just said I'm dedicating 2 years to God. I don't know. It was before it was cool. And it was so, I got to get to know God better. I got to get to know me better. It was so healthy. I would actually recommend that kind of thing. But those longings during that time remained. And I knew the fruit of that time was, I knew, hey, I'm supposed to be a married woman. This is something I desire. It's not going away. This is for me. And I was able during that time to recount painful experiences in my life through God's eyes and have him speak truth to lies that I believe. And it was life-changing. And it's something that I learned during that period of time. It's something that I kept throughout my life. And it's been something that's undergirded me for a very long time. And it was so very meaningful. And I just recommend people to do that, you know what I'm saying, to get them straightened out. I think it's important. But then there's this idea that you have to be completely perfect before you find somebody. Oh, honey, no. I have worked out so many things with this ring on my finger. Oh, yeah. It's so real. But I just, I still felt like, hey, how am I supposed to find this man who's interested in focused dating leading to marriage, who loves me, my curves, my hang-ups, my gregarious, outspoken, Jesus-loving self? How was that going to happen? And it was a process. There wasn't a one-size-fits-all. I looked through the books. I looked through the secular books. Mars and Venus. I read them all. I remember one day I'm in that little apartment of mine with stacks of books. I'm sitting in my chair, and I was on the phone with my mom, and I was shocked that I did this. I was like, Mama, I want to be married. I said it out loud. And I remembered, like, you know, in that season, I had 2 younger women get married, and I was just like dying. So I'm like, I want this so bad. Because I'm like, you know, just struggling with desires. And they were godly. But it was hard. Oh, painful. And so, you know, and what happened, I started working on my mindset. I got real with myself. I started dreaming again, and I got the parked car moving. You know, I didn't just sit around and hope something was going to happen, you know. And it's like God met me halfway, and there was this adventure that we went on together with this. And it was a way that I actually experienced God through it. It was pretty awesome. And he led me to the guy. It's pretty awesome. And through the process, I came to 3 big non-negotiables. And they were that the relationship had to be God-centered, had to be authentic, and it had to be a committed relationship. Because in this culture, you know, I mean, I believe, like I just heard an awesome story about a woman of God that I admire. She was led to the Lord on a first date with her husband. You know, I know couples who were married and didn't know the Lord and got saved together. I've heard of all different ways this happens. Ideally, you know, you want God to be the center from the beginning. It makes things a lot easier. I'm telling you, 10 and a half years out here, so much easier. But that was something that was important. That was a pillar for me. And I wanted it to be authentic. I wanted to be loved for who I was and my gregarious, bright personality and my curvy body. He had to authentically love me. I had to authentically love him. And really be interested, not feign, oh, well, I really like that. No, didn't like it. You know, really be true to myself and let him be true to himself and us come together. And it needed to be committed. You know, you don't want to get in a scenario where a guy's just after one thing, you know, or he's got a bunch of folks on the side. You know what I'm saying? I think there comes a time when you have to say, hey, you know, this relationship's committed. I was never one who could date a bunch of guys, and that's one of my style. I'm just like, I'm a one-woman man. What? One man woman. That's funny. So that's those were the non-negotiables. Outside of that, there's things that there's room for interpretation, but for me, those were the things that had to be there for sure. And once again, coming back to confidence is key. When I believe in what God says about me, when I believe and I put my faith and trust in him and his word, I can be secure. But when I take my eyes off of him and when I hear the lies of my own mind or what other people might say, it brings that insecurity. And so just bringing that bedrock and staying, believing that God is who he says he is. He's going to do what he says he's going to do. And, you know, believing what he says about me and what he says about my future. And that's something that we're going to talk a lot about. And we're also going to talk about press and delete. We got to press delete on limiting beliefs, past negative experiences, people who've rejected you and let you down, things that framed who your self-concept, who you've seen yourself to be. Those are things we're going to deal with. And really, truly, if you've landed here, it's time for change, like for real. Like, if you're ready to be that best version of yourself and take the necessary steps and to be the beautiful, amazing woman that you already are, this is for you for now. I really believe that. And so that is the big overarching picture of what I want to say in this. I want to talk a little bit about what the details of the course. But before I do that, I want to take any questions you may have. If you want to put them in the chat box, I'll be able to see them. I'll just wait for a minute here. I'm going to unmute. Actually, I should have a chat box. Okay, so there's a chat box here. You won't be able to talk out loud, but if you want to type a message in the chat box. You can ask a question. I'll be happy to answer it. And I'll just wait a couple seconds. And after we do the question and answer, I'm going to unveil the details of the course and what it costs and all that stuff. So I should probably play the Jeopardy theme about right now. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, so the chat box isn't lighting up, so we're going to move right on ahead to the details. So we're introducing the Confident Curvy Woman course with the Confident Curvy Woman coach. That'd be me. And what you're going to get is 8 30-minute live videos with live Q&A after the video. During this time, we'll go over 8 lessons I've mined out from my experiences and from biblical principles. This is valued at $300. And after this, you're going to get digital MP4 recordings of each video. I'm trying to work out the access for this. There may actually be downloads. There may be access on a member site, trying to work that part out, but you're going to have those for your personal viewing. That's valued at $147. You'll have class materials. There's no textbook, but there will be worksheets, quizzes, and other downloads designed to enhance your learning, valued at $47. And I'm including 2 bonus items just with this session. Going forward, they won't be included, but with this session of the course, you're going to get these. And what that is a 30-minute coaching session from me. The session can be scheduled anytime during the 8 weeks and during the course or up to 2 weeks after. And that's valued at $97. And email coaching. 1 email per week. Please allow 48 to 72 hours for a response. I want to make sure that I give your email time and attention it deserves. So please condense your email to bullet point format for expedited response. Just because the volume of work that I have these days, I need the 48 to 72. If it's over the weekend, it probably will be 72 hours because I do take a break on the weekends so that I can do my self-care and spend time with the husband and the puppy. Let's face it, we need that kind of time. And so those things are only offered during this time. So this is a total value of $638, but tonight I'm offering it for $197. So if you're on this call, if you've registered by email, you'll get an email link that you'll be able to pay for the course. Now the course starts on April 11th. So you'll have the opportunity to sign up by then. But the doors will close on April 10th. So I can get everything ready, do all that. Don't want to be doing admin things. It's a small but not mighty daisybergen.com these days. So, yeah, so that's what I've got tonight. And if there are any other questions, I want you to go ahead and pop them in the chat box. And if not, we're going to end for the night. And what will happen is this is going to be recorded. And if you weren't able to catch everything, or if you were not able to, if you had glitches in your internet, whatever, you'll get this recording in its entirety. And I'll try to have it to you within the next day or so because I'll need to edit the video. So that's what I have, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're able to join the class. I think it's going to be a tremendous value for you. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. And I'm just really looking forward to coaching you into greater confidence in love and life. So thanks so much for joining tonight, and I'll look forward to seeing you in class. Bye-bye.